of this group that's questioning unquestionables. There's these foundational unquestionables can never be questioned. I just gave you a cursive kind of, Newton and nicety. It doesn't match. All these things, they don't match. So who is right, who is wrong? They make everything. What we see later on when we look into this is that double think is this thing that's been embedded into the whole mentality of how this works. Things that shouldn't happen at the same time happen at the same time. So there's so many examples in space. One of them being, how can they cross the Van Allen belt in the 60s and then it's so deadly, and then they say, oh, we didn't know it was there. We didn't have to think about it, we could just cross it. That's what the Allen says. It's fine. So there's that wall. If I didn't know it was there, I just cross it.
Good morning, everyone.
So essentially, it's
We
kind
are
of logic
streaming
that goes on and
live
on.
from
So
the
Chris
FE
Hadfield says,
convention
when you
in
get
Amsterdam this
ready to
morning.
go on the rocket,
Currently
taken
speaking
by a
is
dog,
Rodrigo. He's talking about the burden of misrepresentation.
He tells this whole dramatic story, and then poof, it's off in the particles, it flies, it's beautiful, no gravity all of a sudden. After they accelerated from 0 to 17,000 miles an hour to get to whatever escape velocity is, right? And nobody can do that acceleration, you melt. So, he can tell you, you go on TED Talks, but then they launch. And what it was the rocket simply because they're questioning this, and they knows how these things work. He actually showed in one of his studies that different satellites to space had the exact same video showing the rocket going up live with the same flares, the same things moving the same direction, the same way. It's amazing how space can do. 6 different launches with the exact same video, right? And people are paying up to hundreds of millions of dollars for each launch. It's good. It's good. It's good scam. It's great. It works. And people love it because it has a lot to do with the science fiction, scientism, dystopian, transhumanist futurism, which is artificial stupidity, how they want to control us with artificial so-called intelligence. And it's all connected to this Mockingbird predictive programming need that we have. The less people being manipulated, the better it is in that case. And so the mainstream media and the news, they're all linked to this reductionism, scientism, and the evolutionism, which are things that basically use mathematics to reduce reality to a simplistic model. So one of the greatest achievements of the transhumanists is to turn Darwin, who's sort of an idiot, into a genius. And many other people, like Stephen Hawking and Richard Dawkins, who was on the plane with Jeffrey Epstein. Many times nobody talks about that. Richard Dawkins is the god of the atheists, talking about biology and humans being lumbering robots controlled by DNA. It's like his books are science fiction or comedy, at the very least. It's terrible, you can barely read it. But he's idolized because he's taking money from the eugenicist apparatus and transhumanists. That explains it all. It explains a lot to me, at least. And now I don't know what the time is. I'm confused with the time here. I think we have still 15 minutes. Am I correct?
You've got 30 minutes. Up here.
Oh, I have 33 minutes.
33 minutes left. Oh, chill.
33, 31, 33, 30. So one of the important questions is, how do we know what we know? How do we know that we know what we think we know? And this is one of the things that many of these people, many people in this community have been looking at. So how do you know that there are these satellites in space? How do you really know that it's a ball? Can you go around the world and make observations and zoom? They will tell, the first thing they will tell Bill Nye, who's going to show you a curved surface, and say, yeah, this boat's going over the horizon, so easy, goes over the horizon, 3 meters away. That sounds more like Bill Clinton. But, and you go and you try to take a look, and it's not. You just bring it back to the horizon. So there's some, what's his name, reality something, you guys know?
Yeah.
Visible reality, not ODD. It's a new guy. He only films things in the distance with his camera. No, it's not Jake Tolan. It's not the guy. Jake Tolan also incredible. Observable reality. This guy has a video that shows a boat that starts going in the distance, and really it seems like it floats. It turns into this thing that goes up because of the effects that are going on. So we know that it's not what they told you in very simplistic terms on TV while you're thinking that Bill Nye is some authority or anything. You don't know he's an actor. Or Brian Cox, you think he's smart. you don't know he's an actor. Or you think Neil deGrasse Tyson is super smart, you don't know he has been accused of date raping people. And he's also contradicting himself over and over and over and over again. People have picked that apart. And these are people who are portrayed in the media as geniuses, and as I was saying, anybody portrayed in the media as a genius most likely ain't. That's what we know. So my work has been looking into this conditioning that happens, and how can such a taken for granted dominant cosmology, that is the globe, when you go around and ask people, why do you believe the globe with the ball, be so unquestionable? People want to defend it, they want to attack you. You cannot even question it. You have to be attacked, you have to be put on the media and lied about, like Jaron, like a lot of people here, like Bob, who's not here unfortunately. So how can it be so unknown? Well, you see, when you look into this and you take a step back and see, let's see how the Globers interact with the globe skeptics. And what you see is that the Globers barely know what they're talking about. They don't know. They just cite from textbooks. So Jaron says all the time, like, why would they even be talking to these guys? They point to a textbook and says, here it is. They don't go to the world. They're not taught how to measure the world. They come up with their own observations. That's what science is all about. It's memorizing formula, because it's being turned into magic sort of reality. Everything's reduced to the little Dave Murphy, La Sora, Guerra Sora, who says math is reality. He doesn't know, and you talk about density. Dave makes dozens of vinyl that has a Space Oddity song, and then she had to dance to that at least 2 or 3 times to kind of feel space. So you know that scientism is this kind of faith and fiction kind of type of storytelling. And here's this is important. I hope the sound is good. What we're trying to do here is that we need to move forward from this. People have proven that there's no curve. Right? There's so many other things to do, and we need to explain to a lot of people how this works. How is it that they're being fooled? They don't really want to look into it. Some people don't care. Some people say it doesn't matter either way. After you show them that there's so many problems with the globe, they'll say, I don't care. I have so many issues I have to deal with life. That's reasonable. But the people who know, I think we need to come together and start doing the hard work, which is pulling off the threads of transhuman eugenics, this apparatus, this parasitical apparatus from academia, figure out all its tentacles, how it spreads, because we know that they're basically rapists. At the very least, if you're gonna use an euphemism for what they're doing, what they do is way more nefarious, right? So what I'd like to show you here is a set of 3 things that people said, Jaron, on the plane, and Iro, that give you perhaps an idea of how we can move forward. What is it that's missing? What is it that we need to teach? What is it that we need to understand, so we can tell the people in the world in the future or now that you have to prove things by going into the world and showing them. You can't just go by theories. Theories have to be confirmed through observations, and then you should question them, but everyone, to make sure where they are, where they live, they need to go out and try to make some observations, right? Because the ball does have a geometry. A lot of people try to avoid this, and then they come out and say that the reason, this is one of the other things how doublethink works, like they tell you that the reason you cannot find a curvature that you see too far is that the light is bending with gravity around the ball and making everything look flat. And that's come out. They have to come up with new stuff. And then a scientist contacted me and said, look at the history of refraction. Here are the textbooks on refraction. What's happening is that the light's bending the other way for most of the time. This is 100 years of refraction science that you're looking at, making observations all day, taking temperature and pressure, humidity in the air, and looking how it changes. The light doesn't bend down almost ever. It's very rare it does. So for most of the day, it's bending the other way. So it's like, is that a shot in the foot? Well, we need to just pay attention here to some of these messages that I selected from some of my research. Okay? versus Jaren?
They should have practical, real-world examples and experiments and tests that these children are doing. If you really lived on this spinning globe, then there would be tests that every child would do. This had to be their biggest fear. Their biggest fear has to be the beginning of the questioning of where people live, because I don't know how you stop it.
So what do you think? Should children be taught how to go around and test the world and see what the world for what it really is, or should we just tell them it's a ball and have them twist their heads over it? Because what we see in the psychology research that has been done with children who are being told the world is that they cannot confirm, we see a lot of resistance, and then when they're told it's stupid to think it's not a ball, then they start conforming and they start changing their drawings to try to fit. But all of them in the very beginning, they said, how can somebody be upside down on the other side of this ball? How this ball is it spinning? And one of the things they find it fascinating is how in the ISS they have a gravity simulator, right? They microgravity, and they have a gravity simulator. How does that gravity simulator work? Right? You know, the ball itself, where supposedly on the globe, it's spinning. It has 1,000 miles an hour in the equator. It has to make that big spin, and we know that centrifugal force, when you spin something, if you throw a ball, a tennis ball, people have seen this with water, you spin it, the water goes away from the center, so anything that spins pulls things away. But the ball doesn't do it because of gravity, tell you. But how does the gravity simulator work, or the gravity, whatever, anti-supergravity thing they do in the ISS? It's a centrifuge. So look at the twist of the double thing. They simulate gravity with a thing, suppose that spins, so the gravity simulated is being pulled against with the centrifugal force. It's a gravity. And at the same time, that's the gravity simulator, but at the same time the ball is spinning, so you don't get the centrifugal force. Somehow you get the gravity, they simulate the gravity of the centrifuge. And let's take a look at what Edo says. And this, I mean, Edo has done some incredible work. I think this stuff needs to be sort of like cataloged. The thing is, like, there's so much stuff he's talked about that to go back and try to find things, it's difficult. This is from a conversation I had with him, so he was showing me directly. And he can do that anytime. He's going to do this tonight. For sure, I don't know what he's going to say today. But let's see what he has to say here. And this is part of how, you know, do children have tests they can do? You know, do we teach them? We don't. You just tell them. But this is one possible option.
Fíjate cómo esta sola fuente de luz, de golpe, se empieza a transformar en un círculo.
It's not real, Edo's real voice, by the way.
¿Se ve la realidad? Sí. Eso es anisotropía. Es porque la fuente de luz está cercana y está atravesando capas o un medio que la frena y la disperse. Todo lo que se ve en el cielo nuestro se puede demostrar vía software, vía simulación en laboratorio, combinado con imágenes de la realidad. Y lo que ellos proclaman, no hay laboratorio que lo pueda comprobar.
Sí.
Básicamente.
So, how about that? Anybody? How about that? He's looking at these phenomena, they're clearly visible. He can simulate them in his environment, but he's putting a dome and he's putting a sun that's closer, smaller, and he's doing exactly what you see in nature. Funny. And what they claim with the ball, with the curving water around the ball holding to the center of mass and so on, they cannot prove in a laboratory. We can model these things, we can show that what we're observing matches reality, and there's more to it, because in the flat earth movement you have people that say the sun is so close, it's being rendered between the clouds, and because you can actually observe, there's images that show, you know, clouds behind the sun, some clouds in front of the sun, so it looks like the sun is in the middle of the clouds. A lot of people see this kind of puzzling phenomenon. People have been wondering about it for a long time, but Edo made he modeled this with the actual clouds, with the sun in the proper altitude, and he rendered it from the position of the observer. So you have a plate with the sun really, you know, above, going in a straight line. I don't know if he's going to show this tonight. Sorry if I'm butchering it. But from the perception of the observer, the sun seems to be rendered in between the clouds. Even in Edo simulation matches reality so well, it's amazing. Okay, so we need to more people to understand how these things are put together, and then we need to have people. Well, the problem is because with NASA you're dealing with a production company. They're actors. Most of them are actors. So and they're fed lines, and we know because they repeat themselves over and over and over and over again. So I mean, they wouldn't be able to debate either. They wouldn't have the technical knowledge. When the Martian, wow, Martian. That was another story. When the Martian came out, this movie, Bolden, the guy from NASA, was crying how beautiful it was, and how good it was, and how perfect it was, and how precise it was. And so not because NASA is part of Hollywood, is essentially the same thing. But in the Mars landing of Curiosity landing, anybody can see that the actor who's pretending he's the director there, he can barely answer any questions. He doesn't have any questions he can answer. Not even about the compression of the artifacts of the, and they're all celebrating and running around because that's part of the dramatic storytelling apparatus of the show that people are watching. You get all this expectation. If you follow the Chandrayaan mission, the failed Indian mission, that even Brad Pitt said that he was a JPL, because Brad Pitt's talking to the International Space Station, and he went to the JPL because he starred in the space movie, so he goes in NASA. And he was a JPL when the Indians were doing their thing, and he said the JPL was actually controlling it. He said JPL was assisting it. Like people say, well, there's all these independent space agencies. They don't understand that McDonald's is in China and in Japan. It's still McDonald's. Right? It's franchising. It's how it works. It is exactly how it worked with India. They show you CGI cartoons. In the case of India, it's kind of it's ridiculous. The kind of stuff they're showing. It was like, is this Atari from the 80s? People are like, how is it possible? They should be showing amazing pictures from inside this ship, doing all kinds of stuff, but they just show you this fake stuff. And people believe the kids, they had kids there who had won a space quiz. They were the winners of the trivia from space. So you get a bunch of kids to memorize a bunch of trivia, test them, select the ones that did better. And these kids refused to accept that the mission had failed. And then the Indians went on and on to explain how they had actually succeeded because they managed to do all the 98 steps out of 100. So they did most of it, the vast majority, so they couldn't have failed, even though the thing never landed, never seen any footage, and so on and so forth. They failed, right? They did. But you see just the power of the will to believe and how strong it is, the brainwashing apparatus, and how people love the idea of space. They're never going to go there. They're never going to fly anywhere. And it has a lot to do with pride, nationalist pride. Let's hear Paul for a second here.
What we have all been told is going on doesn't reconcile with reality from our perspectives. And so that's why we start questioning. And I think that's the biggest problem. When I first came to the subject of the Earth being potentially not being what we are told it is, the first thing that hit my mind was, what about all these pictures we have from space?
Which is what a lot of people say. And that basically is how he starts his journey. He's like, well, let me see these pictures from space. And I was just looking at NASA databases the other day to get some of their Hollywood posters because they're just so playful. They make these Hollywood-looking posters. You should take a look at it. It's kind of ridiculous. But I look into their database, their supposed database, and you try to look into their satellite images and different things. It's basically all CGI. They don't even tell you it's a photograph. They don't tell you. They say it's an image, it's a composite. They have all kinds of things that say different instruments that they put together. It's this really difficult way, and you just kind of, and people believe it's science. Science works like that. You get the instruments, you get the measurements, and they put it together. But